Welcome to day 8 of Streak Daily Initiative, your daily dose of UPSC preparation. I am Sukanya Rana and I will take care of your means answer writing program for the day. I hope you finished with the day 8 targets. Now day 8 target I think was pretty simple and you should have been able to finish this comprehensively. It's basically about historical background and making of the constitution. Now this topic might not look very important from prelims point of view, but yeah, from means point of view, this is an important topic because a lot of different philosophical questions that are related to constitution can be derived from this particular portion. So yeah, this topic from means is important. And before I talk and discuss both the questions for means here, I would like to add one thing here that in the description box, guys, if you want to enroll into any of the means initiative that is provided by Civils Daily, the links are provided there. So if you're somebody who is trying to attempt for UPSC in 2022, we have Means Essential Program 2022 and we'll be launching a new batch with respect to that next month. So you can enroll into that as well. Other than that, if you're attempting for 2021, we have two programs, that is Means Essential Super 50 program for 2021 and Smash program for 2021. Now again, Smash is something where only veterans can get enrolled. If you've written means 1 or 2 times, you can write to us and we'll go through your answer sheets and you can get enrolled here. MEP 2021 Super 50 is for everyone who's not even written even one means can enroll into this particular program, right? So that was about all the means program that is provided by Civils Daily, and we are launching a new batch for 2022. If you are interested, you can look into it. Let us know and we'll contact you. So let us look into the first question here. Now again, like I told you, this portion, when you talk about means, it will always have those philosophical type of questions that are linked to this particular topic. So the first question here is that the Constituent Assembly debates give us an insight into the minds of our constitution makers. Justify. Pretty simple statement. It's easy to understand. Like what it's talking about is when you go through these constitutional debates, it is an insight into what logics, what rationality and what ideas were projected by our constitution makers. Now this portion is important because their thinking, their ideas is something that has resulted into the various philosophies that we can find in our constitution in the form of preamble, in the form of values of like socialism, secularism, equality. So this is what is discussed comprehensively in the Constitutional Assembly debates. There were points against, there were points for the motion. So yeah, that gives a very comprehensive view upon various important topics. So let us look into our introduction. So if you're talking about introduction here, obviously the main theme was Constitutional Assembly. So we're going to talk about and we're going to give a small introduction about Constituent Assembly, like when did it originate. Obviously it was formed in 1946. What was the membership? Again, you can bring in the element that Constituent Assembly may look like it was Congress dominated, but it had a lot of different streaks that were associated to it. Like there were some people who had socialist ideology, there were some people with communist ideology, there were some with rightists, there were some leftist. So Congress had a very foolproof kind of membership at that point of time. And another thing that you can talk about is what was the way of working. Again, debates, deliberation was something that was very democratic about Constituent Assembly debates. So at that portion, in fact, it took like 2 years, 11 months and 17 days to write a constitution. So all that information, the basic idea behind Constituent Assembly can be put in our introduction. Next is our body. So the basic theme of the body was how Constituent Assembly debates provide us with an insight into the minds of constitution makers. But before we talk about that, let's add a small portion about why is it important. right? Why is it important to look into these debates, or what is the relevance of these particular debates, right? So talk about this portion, like how these Constituent Assembly debates are basically a reservoir of information on our moral aspiration. It talks about the ideology of the constitution. So all these importance of constitutional assembly debates can be put with the help of a diagram, I think, here, because it's a small portion and it will just create a link from your introduction to body. Then what we're going to do is we're going to talk in detail how these particular debates will provide you insight into the minds of constitution makers. And what you can do is you can pick up certain examples here. Like there were a lot of debates on a lot of sensitive issues. Like there was this debate upon untouchability. A lot of different dimensions was put here. There was this debate on federalism. So Gopal Swami Iyengar had actually talked about how it is important to make sure that both center and the state have separated power and they work in their independent space. So that kind of ideas was put forward at on the debate when there was debate about federalism. So like this, what you can do is you can pick up few debates and you can give across your point here. Like you can talk about federalism, you can talk about secularism, you can also talk about universal franchise. Now that was one place where everybody had agreed, right? So, so what does this show? That the constitution makers actually believe that everyone had the right to contribute or give their own opinion when it comes to voting, right? So the idea of illiterate people cannot vote was actually eliminated by the whole Constituent Assembly. So that is also a very progressive view if we look into our constitution makers. So that is also one you can add here. Other than that, when you finished comprehensively dealing with this portion, next what you can do is add certain limitations. Certain limitations of Constituent Assembly, like how you can talk about, here also you can bring in certain topics or discussions that took place, like one debate on uniform civil code. You can talk about that, how Hindu code bill was not actually processed, and there were certain limitations like conservatism when we talk about the ideas of universal civil code, right? So that kind of ideas can put through. There were certainly certain limitations, like with Constituent Assembly, it was not directly elected, it was not put out for the people to vote on it. So yeah, there were certain ideas which you can, again, this has to be a very small portion that you're going to deal with. The basic portion, which is very important, if you compromise with that, then you're going to lose marks, is obviously how this particular debates provide an insight into the minds of the constitution makers. Next is, then we're going to talk about our conclusion here. So, now in this particular question, what can conclusion come here? So here what you can do is, you can talk about the present relevance of these debates, alright, like how these debates are still an inspiration for a lot of judicial judgments that are provided by Supreme Court. They can also provide guidance to our parliament whenever they're in conflict with certain ideas or with certain moralities. There are a lot of different controversial issues that are coming up, like universal civil code is also in news. There were incidents with respect to Sabrimala. So a lot of different value related questions are also put forward here. So these debates can actually provide you with certain kind of different ideas and different nuances that can guide our future policy making, right? So that is your conclusion for the first question. Now let's look into the second question. Now second question is on secularism. Now secularism is very important topic. There have been a couple of questions in mains on this particular topic, so you have to prepare this topic well. So the question says here is that secularism in India, in Indian constitution, ensures citizens' rights of equality and places duties on the state at the same time. Explain. So if you look at the question here, it talks about two of the application of secularism. One is related to citizens and another is related to state. So secularism for citizens, what they do is they ensure the rights of equality, and at the same time secularism in terms of state can place certain kind of duties upon the state. So there are two roles that are played by secularism here. So that is the basic idea, and that has to be covered very comprehensively in your body. So let's start with our introduction. Since the topic is on secularism, let us define what does secularism mean. Also, what you can do is you can bring about the Indian version of it, because if you notice in the first line it says secularism in the Indian constitution. So it's talking specifically about what the Indian version talks about. So what you can do is the first definition that you provide can be the Western link definition that you write, and then you can show what is the Indian interpretation of secularism, and also point out the constitutional elements that are there in your fundamental rights with respect to secularism. That is also important. Then we're going to straight away jump to our body. Now in our body, like I told you, there were two portions with respect to secularism that are talked about. Number one is rights, number two is duties. So what you're going to do is you're going to subdivide your body into two portions. Number one, you're going to talk about rights, like how secularism ensures rights of equality. Take the case of it has secularism allows you to profess your religion on an equality basis, so anybody can do it, so there's no discrimination there. So that is also a right of equality in a sense. The idea of untouchability is prohibited, so that is also ensuring your equality. You cannot be enrolled into any government office based upon your religion, so that is also ensuring equality. So there are a couple of rights that can be derived from the idea of your secularism that is driven by Indian psychology. Next is the duties that are placed on state. Now secularism will also ensure that certain duties or certain restrictions are placed upon the state, so that the motive of equality is maintained and there's no discrimination that is created amongst people based upon their religion. So the basic idea here, the basic duties here are like no state can promote any kind of religion. The state revenue cannot again be used to promote any religion. Also, you cannot do that while welfare is provided to one particular section of the religion and another section is not given any at all. You cannot protect one religion completely. So all those ideas are like duties that are placed upon the state, and you can bring in this element here. And what next you can do is, once you've talked about how individually and at the state level these rights and duties are ensured, then what you can do is the rising conflict that is there in the Indian secularism. And you can quote certain examples from your current affairs here, right? So we had an issue of Sabrimala here, where we talked about rights of individual and right of religion to be protected. Now here certain equality rights of women were violated. So the idea of secularism can sometimes be at conflict also, and you can show such examples here. Next, when you talk about state, there are duties placed upon state not to influence any kind of religion or not to get engaged in any kind of religion. Now there have been certain allegations regarding the state that they do promote one and they are targeting one religion and all those things. So that kind of ideas you can put through, especially with respect to rights. You can talk about that. And finally, in your conclusion is you have to support the Indian definition or Indian constitutional take on the Indian secularism. So that has to be your conclusion. You have to talk about how we can further nurture this particular idea, how we can make it more adaptable to the present needs, where the ideas of religion is taking a complete turnaround. We have more issues, controversial issues that are coming up. What ideas do secularism hold in era of social media? So all those things can be put forward in your final conclusion, and I think that will be the end of this particular answer. So that's it, guys. I think this covers the whole of it, and all the best. Keep on writing answers, keep on practicing, and I'm sure you guys will improve. Any other doubts, do put it in the comment section, and we'll reach out to you. Thank you so much for watching video, and take care.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civils Daily.